Okay, so this is my first NES-RGB failure. And what has happened is we have continuity between power and ground on both boards. So I'm really worried that the NES-RGB got fried. Don't know what happened. Suspecting CPU. Now this is the 5-volt rail on the inside of R1 here. Of course this is ground. Let's see, I think also, what is it? Yeah, it's usually the high number chip or high number leg that is power, and then the opposite leg is ground. That's what it looks like. Anyway, I'm suspecting CPU, and oh, where I was going with that, the 5-volt rail, the power switch here is off. So I no longer suspect the cap or the bridge rectifier, you know, or any of the initial power components. I'm suspecting something after the switch. There is one 5-volt rail cap here, but in my experience, it's usually not the caps that short, and I have had plenty of CPUs fail. But the NES-RGB, I have no idea where to start with that thing. One of the tricks that I used to see, let me turn that off, was to look for the lowest ohms. I've got 4.04 ohms on the CPU. 4.05 on the 373, 4.05 on the 139, 4.07 on work RAM, and 4.06 on video RAM. I have never seen a controller input chip be bad, but 4.05 there, 4.055, 4.057. It could be a number of things, but now I got 4.040, 4.039 on the CPU. So I'm going to go ahead and desolder the CPU just because, well, you know what I might do first? Let's break out the thermal camera and we'll apply power to this and see what heats up the quickest. Okay, as you can see, the board has been off all day, so that's pretty much all in the mid-high 70s range there. Click on power. I've actually got nothing here. We may not even have power. Let me check that. And, oh, silly me. The voltage regulator is missing. So, and I think it was declared okay, but it was taken out as suspect. I'm actually going to put it back in there. Yeah, I'm going to put the voltage regulator back in, and that way we can actually turn the power on and check to see if the CPU gets really hot really fast. Okay, so voltage regulator and heat sink are back in. And we'll put it back on DC volts here. Do a quick check. Make sure we actually are getting 5 volts. We're getting voltage, but not 5 volts, but it's probably because it's got a short to ground. 4.4 volts. Turn on the thermal camera here. Oh yeah. It's already showing hot. Kind of hard to make out with this thermal camera, but it was most definitely the CPU getting hot right away. So like I said, I'm probably going to pull that CPU. I might, once I get the CPU swapped out, make sure it's bad, whatever, I might actually do this same test on the NES-RGB and see if it'll show us what's wrong with it. Okay, while the Heiko 808's heating up for me to get the CPU out, I wanted to show you what happened to the PPU when the owner tried to remove it. He was trying to diagnose what was going on with it before he sent it back to me. And he bent, it looks like maybe 4 pins on the PPU, and he got really worried that he had just completely messed it up. But I've seen much worse than this. Like if you ever look at my videos I did about the EEPROMs, those big boxes of EEPROMs that I get, all the pins are almost always bent over just completely. But I just wanted to show you that this is nothing. This is very repairable. Just take something, I've got these little needle nose I use, and crimp them back straight. They don't have to be perfect, especially if you're just going to put them back on the circuit board and solder them in. But even to get them into a socket, they don't have to be absolutely perfect. Look down that row right there and see they're all kind of bent one way. That happens when you pull a chip up and like one side catches and you aren't able to pull it out straight. Same thing, just grab the whole row and move them over with the needle nose. Get it more straight. If there's a few pins not straight, you'll have a little harder time getting it back into the sockets or whatever. But again, just take your needle nose and grab onto the pin and wiggle it around until it slides into the hole. There you go. Very easy. Let's go see if the Heiko's heated up yet. Okay, so CPU is out. So I'll be very, very curious to see if we still have a short. We do not. Excellent. And we have a solid, looks like 300 ohms power to ground, and I think that's very normal. Check this one. Yep, 0.27 on this one, and this one's fine. So that makes me very sure that the CPU is bad. Let's see. I can put power to it now, and we can check DC voltage, and we should see volts, 4.934. Very good. So I'll get a new CPU in it, and I'll put the PPU that was in the NES-RGB in here, and then we'll see if I can actually get video from this, and then we'll know the rest of the board is okay. Okay, CPU has been reinstalled with a socket. This is the PPU that was out of this originally. Just making sure I don't have a short here. And whoa, I have a short. Could it be the original PPU got zapped as well? Well, original PPU also. Yep, 3.8 ohms. So that's not great news. I'm going to get the PPU out of my test board here. And let's do a continuity test on it. 0. And 0. Let's see. Do a quick check for voltage. .927, good. And now I'll hook it up in my weird little way here. Let's see if I get composite video output. If nobody's ever seen this before, I use this setup for testing, troubleshooting. This is my top loader that I keep around for testing chips. Most of the chips here are in sockets. And then I have a composite amp bolted to the side over here. So basically what I can do is feed pin 21 to that amp and ground the two boards together and power both boards. And obviously put a game in it, which the camera is sitting top of my games. Ooh, that is not good. All I'm getting is a gray screen. I'm not getting anything. Whoop. Now what? Maybe the sockets are too worn out for this. I've had that happen one time before. Still gray screen. PPU is sitting there in there awful loose. It seems like what I used to do was, let's see. Let's see if I can put an extra set of sockets on there. These are clamping much harder. Deposit. It's got a couple pins that bent when I was trying to put it in there. Okay. The extra set of sockets in there. Nope. Gray screen again. Which probably what I ought to do. I thought the CPU and PPU on this were in working order. But I can simply swap them in here. Let's give it a quick test, and yeah, they're both working. So, apparently we're still not good here. Gray screen, gray screen. I want to say, would you say work or video RAM? I'm kind of leaning towards work RAM. Okay, so got the suspect chips out. Luckily they're interchangeable. So I really only need to do one chip at a time. And I can put them on the same side. Yeah. Obviously, that chip is bad. However, is the other one also bad? And no, I didn't mark them, so I couldn't tell you which one that was. Sorry. Also, bad. Oh, crap. So far it's taken out all 4 major chips. Can you believe it? And we'll put the good ones back in, and yes. Good to go. And just for fun, let's see what happens when we put a bad one into the work RAM. I'm guessing gray screen? Gray screen. Yep. Okay, so now I've got the SRAM chips in sockets as well. Tested and known good, so all 4 should be known good chips. Forget my ground to ground here. There we go. Now that PPU socket just doesn't want to cooperate. Okay, if I hold it, it's fine. Well, anyway, I'll probably end up replacing it. Okay, so the board is good to go. Now, I want to get to the NES-RGB, and what I'm going to do is hook up power and ground to it through my power supply, and then break out the thermal camera and see what gets hot on here first. That might give me some indication of what's going on or where to look or something like that. Okay, so here's the board. As you can see, it's all room temp. That is hot because that's what I just touched, I guess. So I hit the switch on DC, already set for 5 volts. And yes, right away we get a few hot spots. Let's look on one of the line level converters. Maybe 2 line level converters. And I believe that is the FPGA, or CPLD I should say. If that's a line level converter and that's a line level converter, then those both seem to be very hot at I seen 185 there for a second. $172. I'm not sure what this is all the way out here. Maybe one of the power supplies. Not sure. I believe that one definitely has a power supply. Not getting too hot yet. But anyway, this would be something for Tim to look at. I'm probably not going to attempt to reinstall this one until I talk to Tim first, actually. It seems like that's it's just going to destroy the NES again if I put it back in there. I don't want to do that. Something seriously bad happened to this thing, obviously, but you don't want to cause more issues by installing a bad board or a bad chip if it's going to take out other components too.